Okay, it's 11:30 by my clock. I hope all of you can see my screen in a slide share mode, which says the Dreamcatchers Global Education Services. So can someone give me a thumbs up there? Okay, great. Okay, a very warm welcome to all of you to this career awareness session on AI and ML technologist as a career path. So I am Surbhi Kumar and I am the founder of the Dreamcatchers. So I'll start with telling you a little bit about the Dreamcatchers. We are an education consulting firm with a mission to assist students in realizing their dream of obtaining quality and best fit education. And you would be wondering, how do we do that? So for grade ninth and 10th, as you would realize that the immediate need is stream and subject selection. And for grade 11th and 12th, it's primarily the right course and the right set of colleges, selecting those, right? So we start with something which is called as a psychometric assessment test, which tests students on its aptitude, their personality traits, and interest types. On the basis of this aptitude, personality, and interest, a detailed career fitment report is generated. This report provides insights into the top 10 career clusters which are best aligned to the student. Okay, but keep in mind that this is just a quantitative report. So through our individualized and personalized counseling, we get into a greater detail of discussion with the student. And on the basis of that, we derive a career pathway and a specific unique action plan for that student. Okay. We also provide our services on the higher education admission guidance space, both for Indian and overseas university. We provide you services which helps in assessing your profile, enhancing it, doing country and course shortlisting, doing best fit college mapping, providing guidance on letter of recommendation, statement of purpose, how you can apply for scholarship, interview preparation, and visa guidance. Okay, I hope this helps all of you to understand a little bit more about what the Dreamcatchers is and how we can serve you better. Now, let's talk about the session lineup for today. So, as you know, we are talking about AI and ML technologist or engineer as a career path. So, we'll give you a career overview, which will talk about the day-to-day roles and responsibilities, skills and competencies which are needed to thrive in that career, the right subject combinations, the supportive curricular activities, common college pathways, top colleges in India and across the globe, recruiters whom you can target once you complete your educational pathway, again, in India and across the globe. Now, keep in mind that this is just an overview. So we will not dive deeper into the details, but we will definitely provide you details which will give you some insights into how you can go about building your career, or rather doing foundational things to build your career in this space. Now, it is on you to take it one step further, do your research, assistance. We are there to provide you that. Highlight of our session today is Fireside Chat with Mr. Subrat, and that is what is the cream of our discussion today. And I am very sure that after the 45 minutes of that Fireside Chat, you will have good insights about this career and how you can go about it. Definitely, it's a live webinar, so we will keep some room for Q&A. So please keep posting your questions in the chat box. Depending upon the time we have in hand, we'll try to pick few. And also, if something is being covered through the questions I would be asking, then I might not pick that specific question, but just keep dropping your questions there. So now let's dive into the session itself. And I know that it's a Sunday morning. Some of you might be still in your pajamas and having a lazy morning. So let's just quickly do a warm-up quiz. Okay, again, I am assuming that if you are coming into this session, you are inclined towards this career, right? So you may have little bit of information. So I'll not read out the question, but I'll just urge you to put your responses in the chat box. Which of the options seems correct to you in terms of the skill sets which is most essential for AI ML engineer career track? Okay. Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah, I can see few responses, and yeah, majority of you are right. It's the having the strong mathematical and statistical skills. Okay. Now, let's move on. What's happening? Okay. I hope you can still see my slide which says career overview technologist. So let's start with very basic. So what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science which is focused on making computers behave in human ways. And it exists in many different forms around us, be it robots, be it computers that play chess, be it different digital assistant tools as such. Now, within artificial intelligence, there are six broad subfields, right? And machine learning is one of them. So, what is machine learning? It's nothing but a branch of artificial intelligence and one of the ways through which AI can be achieved. So, AI initiatives, they make it possible for a machine to mimic human behavior based on what it has been taught. But ML models take it one step further, which help machines to teach themselves. Computer scientists or computer engineers, they use machine learning to give machines the models necessary to observe and process vast quantities of data, and then use that data to create its own algorithms and draw its own conclusions. Now, most importantly, what does an AI ML engineer or a technologist do? So he or she is a professional who specializes in designing, developing, and implementing artificial intelligence and machine learning solutions to solve complex problems across various domains. And in further slides, you will see which specific domains I'm talking about. Now, they leverage AI and machine learning techniques to extract insights from data, make predictions, automate process, optimize decision making. Okay. Now, the next slide, which talks about the roles and responsibilities, skills and competencies, so on and so forth. It's a very important slide for you high schoolers to understand what kind of work would be required in this profession and how you can make yourself kind of well informed or well prepared to thrive in this career. In terms of roles and responsibilities, programming and prototyping to build AI systems, researching, developing, and optimizing AI applications, performing research to advance the science and technology of intelligent machines, designing machine learning systems, running those machine learning tests and experiments, performing statistical analysis and fine-tuning those test results, monitoring and maintenance of the systems which are created. And we cannot undermine the importance of complying with the ethical and legal guidelines, right? In terms of skills and competencies, as many of you rightly answered the earlier quiz question, mathematical and statistical skills are foundational skills in this space. Being analytical, having problem solving skills. Now, some of the skills are very, very technical, like having programming skills, having knowledge of high scale distributed database management systems, AI frameworks and tools, data analysis tools, data processing tools, domain knowledge. I want to really stress upon this a lot, because the AI or machine learning solution doesn't exist in vacuum. They are created to solve business problems, to provide insights to key stakeholders so that they can take informed business decisions. So the more you understand the domain, the more you can provide answers to the questions, right, through the data itself. Now, continuous learning and adaptability, definitely in majority of the professions, these skills are needed. Learning how to learn is a very, very important skill to have these days. Okay, and more so in this stream. Ideal subjects, mathematics, and even like probability and statistics. If you really enjoy that naturally, well and good. If you don't, but you want to really develop your competency there, then there are definitely ways to do that. Computer science, programming, or coding, if you get an opportunity to get exposure to this during your high school years, go for it. Okay, co-curricular activities, participating in hackathons, computer science competitions, maths olympiads or competitions, if possible, contributing to different open source projects, and there are different ways through which you can do that. Attending workshops and seminars, again, gathering as much knowledge as possible, right? And it's not just enough that you participate in school level competitions, be it inter-school or intra-school. Try to participate in external competitions, like which are provided by Analytics Vidya, Driven Data, and many other firms per se. Okay, now moving on, I have another small quiz for all of you. And the reason why I put this quiz is, as we touched upon, that we conduct psychometric assessment. But in my practice, I have realized that some of the students, and specifically parents, they come with a preconceived notion, right, around psychometric assessment. So I would just want to bust that myth here. So it's a true or false statement. What do you think? Psychometric assessments predict perfect career for a student with absolute certainty? Is that true or is that false? Yeah, you can keep posting again your answers in the chat box and I'll take it up from there. Mm-hmm. Great. I think many of you have that clarity. And one thing which I want to highlight, that there is no such thing as perfect career. Like, careers are something which are aspect which gives satisfaction in your life. But there will be mundane tasks in every career, and there will be tasks which really excites you as well. So it will be a mix of both. Now, moving on, as I mentioned, that psychometric assessment are quantitative tools and it touch upon three dimensions of a student. But I would really want to focus on aptitude for today. So if you're looking to create your career in this field, it is important that you have high potential in the numerical and reasoning aptitude. So that should be your bright spot. Okay. And in case, again, if you are in the middle range there, no worries. If you are again planning to make your career, then you have to work towards these skills. And there are definitely ways and mechanisms through which you can do it. But I would say if it is in the low range, then think more about it. Is this really the right career for you? Okay. So that's a food for thought. Now let's move on. In terms of common entry pathways, again, this is not comprehensive at all, but as I mentioned, these are common ones, right? So if you can again come in this field from any stream, and we'll discuss more about it when we talk to Subrat in our Fireside chat session. But having mathematics and statistics is very much needed. Now, then you can do your bachelor's in computer applications, BSc IT or so. Either you can go for bachelor's in mathematics or applied mathematics, bachelor's in statistics, in AI, ML, in data science or big data. And then the traditional engineering pathway is always open. You take PCM stream. Again, if statistics is a possible subject, do study it. Go ahead and do your BTech or BE, preferably in computer science branch. But even if you take other branches, nothing stops you from making your career in this stream. How you can do so? You can take relevant master courses, which I have mentioned, and even there are certifications as well, right? Definitely, if you want to do further higher studies, PhD is also an option in this field. Now, as you can see on my screen, that once you are done with your educational pathway, which all industries and sectors you can target? Again, there is no limit. It has application across different industries as such. And for those of you who would have attended my data science session, right, you would have seen same industries and sectors being mentioned there, because AI, ML, data science, deep learning, these all have applications across these different industries and sectors and beyond that as well. Okay, I hope this helps to an extent. Now, if we talk about other countries which are good for computer science and AI courses, definitely there are much more countries beyond this, specifically other European countries as well. But let's just stick to these four, which is UK, Australia, US, and Canada. Now, I've just mentioned the kind of courseworks you can take there. It could be at the undergraduate level or at the postgraduate level itself. You can go ahead and do your mathematical science coursework, or even applied and computational mathematics, take core artificial intelligence, take do your software engineering, right? That would kind of create your path to enter in this field. Okay, let's move on. Now, I also wanted to give you some list of colleges. Again, this is not comprehensive, but if we talk about India, IIT is definitely very popular with this, and IIT Bombay specifically, NIT, BITS Pilani, Delhi Technical University, or earlier which was known as Delhi College of Engineering. In US, Caltech, MIT, Columbia, Penn Engineering. I really want to highlight this one because it is from this fall, that is fall of 2024. Penn is really Penn is Pennsylvania School of Engineering or under University of Pennsylvania. They're offering a core program in the artificial intelligence stream itself, right? You can explore that further for those of you who are looking for study abroad as an option. Canada, University of Waterloo is very famous for its computer science courses. University of British Columbia, University of Toronto, UK, Oxford, Cambridge, University of Edinburgh, Imperial College, UCL, Australia, majority of the popular colleges or Group 8 as they are called, be it Monash, be it University of Sydney. In Singapore, both NTU and NUS offers good courses in this field. Okay. Now, I also wanted to give some understanding of the recruiters in this space. And again, by no means this is comprehensive. This is just so that you have some information there. So in technology space, Infosys, Microsoft, in healthcare and pharma space, Bharat Biotech, and I think these names became popular during the COVID times, Lilly, in fintech, Cred, Bharat Pay, MasterCard, online marketplaces or e-commerce sites like Blinkit, Amazon, EdTech, be it Upgrad, be it Udemy or Coursera, Agritech, which is AG Next, Decisive, Cropex, companies like these. And there are many more. So I hope this helps you to get some insights. And that was the overview section from my end. And let me just enable the audio and video for Subrat. Just allow me a minute. Hey, Subrat, can you hear me well?
Yeah, I think.
Hey, good morning. Am I audible?
Morning. Yeah, perfectly audible. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Great.
So let me just start with a brief intro of yours, Subrat. Once again, very warm welcome to our session today. So there is a lot to say about you, but I'll just still keep it brief. Subrat is a prominent voice in deep tech. His views on new age technology and the startup ecosystem are sought after and regularly published in leading newspapers, journals, and discussion forums, as you can see from the snippet on my screen. He's an AI and ML practitioner with an avid interest in Internet of Things. He currently works as the Chief Technology and Product Officer at AG Next or Agnes. Please correct me if I am pronouncing it incorrectly, Subrat. It's Agnex.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Agnex is the correct one. Ag
Okay.
for agriculture. Next is what's next, right?
Awesome. And his company aims to bring trust, speed, and transparency to the agriculture value chain using AI based food assessment technologies. Subrat is a technologist with vast years of experience and has worked across companies like Nvidia, Capillary, and IBM. So let's delve into this enriching conversation with him. I'm sure his insights and experience would really help all of you make a well-informed career decision if you're planning to go in this stream. So yeah, we are honored to have you here, Subrat. So now the floor is yours, and maybe we can start with our fireside chat. Before I shoot my questions, anything which you would want to say?
Thank you, Survi and Dreamcatchers team. I um, I really enjoy mentoring and coaching people. So definitely I am very happy to be part of this session. Uh, Most of the reason being that it will be providing guidance to people who are looking to build careers around this area that I'm working on, right? So looking forward to it, and looking forward to the fireside chat with you, Survi.
Great. So here goes my first question, Subrat. For the benefit of our audience, which is again primarily high school students, could you provide a simplified explanation of what is artificial intelligence, what is machine learning, and how is one different from the other? And
Right.
also, what is the connection between AI, ML, and data science? Because in my practice, I have seen, and commonly as well, people use it interchangeably.
Yes. Right. That's a fantastic question to start with. So, in fact, when I started off my journey into deeply into AI ML, This is the first thing that I also delved into, right? So let's take the in a broader sense of the term. AI is meant to build smart things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or smart machines. What do you mean by smartness? Smartness is when you are able to make decisions, right? Decisions are smart. You have to make smart moves. That's what people say. Now, machine learning is a subset of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Subset means AI is a universe, and there's one set of intelligence which is called machine learning, where you leverage data
Mm-hmm.
to make that particular entity smart, right?
Understood.
And there are algorithms behind that, right? And this is the first question that you asked me. Now let's talk about data science. See, data science is again, it's a there's an intersection, but between data science and ML, but there is something beyond that as well, right? So when we do data, um, data is about uh, when you look at data science, the phases of data is you have to leverage data to build out information, right? That's what data science is all about.
Mm-hmm.
So you first start with an exploratory data analysis. Then you figure out, this data is good. Then you do a lot of data cleaning. Then you try to and make sure that what the data is speaking, you understand that, right? That is all part of data science. If you look at machine learning, when you look at data, and there's an overlap where you are utilizing this data to build a smart machine, right?
Okay.
And there is a very significant part of this data science thing that you do, which is leveraging machine learning, right? So, for
Okay.
example, you have to do exploratory data analysis. You have to understand what data is saying. Is the data clean or not? Is the data correlated or not? Right. So it's more statistical than pure machine learning. Machine learning takes in this good data and builds up the smartness.
Okay, okay, fair enough. I think that
Right.
really helps. At least to me, it's a very simplified explanation. But to the audience here, just keep posting your questions in the chat box. And if you need any
Right.
further clarification as well in terms of explanation, and I'll pick your questions from the chat box itself. Okay, so I'm putting the onus on all the members who are attending this session. The more you ask, the more you take away from this session. Okay. So let me start with my next question, which is about your career journey, right? I know like you have a stellar record when it comes to academics. You did your education from IIT Kharagpur. You also did your PhD, but wanted to understand so that it helps the audience to get insights. What could be the career journey in this space, specifically taking your example and how you specifically arrived in this field itself?
Okay, great. So I will also share with you, Survi, after this. So I prepared a deck for on my journey. I'll share that with you, which you can share with the audience, right?
Okay.
So thanks for this introduction. You covered most of it. I did my bachelor's and then my PhD in IIT Kharagpur in computer science. Um, and in fact, I started off with a problem in the AI domain when I started off my PhD, right? But then when I started my PhD, AI was cold. The AI winter was going on, right? So I
Okay.
moved on to something different. And then I graduated from Kharagpur. I joined a company, EDA company called Synopsys.
Okay.
And post, in fact, when I was doing my PhD, I worked into startups. Startups were just getting kind of, I would say, not mainstream yet, but they were getting into the way of becoming mainstream.
Mm,
Um, I was with Synopsys, then I joined IBM in the CPU verification team.
okay.
The reason I'm telling all about this because it has relevance. I'll come to the connecting dots part. Right? Then I joined NVIDIA, where I was working on GPUs, IBM was CPUs, server CPUs. Then I joined a Bay Area-based food tech startup called Taro,
Okay.
all right,
Okay.
which is
Mhm.
pure software, right? I mean, away from hardware totally, EDA totally. And
Okay.
then I took a break trying to understand what real AI ML is, right? And then I joined Capillary, where I was heading the AI function, right?
Mm,
And AI engineering function, building products, end-to-end AI products. And
yes.
uh, after my mission in a capillary was well achieved, I moved on to join Agnext as a CTO, where
Yes.
our objective has been to work on using AI for quality assessment of agriculture produce.
Okay.
Um, has been sorry, my video is off. How did I do that? Sorry.
I did not want to interrupt in between, so but I
Oh,
did
okay,
mention
okay, okay. I didn't know how it happened. So
that's
probably it was optimizing or something. So the use of, see, the thing which I've realized, right, in this my entire journey is, um, you have to be to build I mean, the skill set that I had acquired over years, right? Whether it was during my PhD time, where I was working on sponsored projects, which was totally orthogonal to what I was doing in my PhD, like analog products and other stuff. I think they still have a strong relevance to what I'm building today.
okay.
My work in IBM and NVIDIA was purely hardware-centric optimization, instruction level, CPU pipelines, right? So that gives me a view of how do I optimize any code for the hardware that I'm building it on. Very important in today's world, right?
Yeah.
Compute is something which will be the biggest factor in scaling systems going forward. So, I mean, this may be a bit orthogonal, but I don't want to go deeper. Then, my work in Capillary was primarily around computer vision, personalization algorithms, and a lot of data science algorithms were really a big part of my work in Capillary, right?
Okay.
And now in Aganext, I am using my knowledge in hardware, my knowledge in AI, my knowledge in building systems and software, which I was doing in Capillary, and the other companies, right, that I worked on. So it's a holistic way that I am able to use all of the knowledge that I have taken over a period of time and utilizing it in building an optimized product for the company so that we can get revenue. Right. So my journey has been interesting. I would say there were challenges in places, but I thought, why not now? Let's take it up, right? And that's how it is. I mean, if you have any questions to dig deep further, I can talk about it. But that's how it has been.
No, I think for now this gives a fair idea of like how you build up on different things, and now I think you are applying whatever you learned in a very holistic manner per se.
Yes,
You're
yes,
correct.
yes, yes. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got it. I have
So that is very important because whatever you are learning at any point of time, even your class 8, 9, 10, what you're learning, right? If your basics are right, you can build. You don't need an engineering degree. You'll be able to build on top of things. That's what I'm saying. Right.
Yeah, so we'll touch upon in our another question around the educational background as
Yeah.
well. But I have received few questions already. So Veda will cover your question shortly, and Rishabh, that's an interesting question. We'll see if we can take that after a couple of questions itself. Okay, so thank you for your patience there. But I'll move on to the next one, which is. Uh, what is your current role and responsibility? I know like you work as a chief technology as well as chief product officer, but maybe
Right.
for the relevance of the subject today or the topic today, maybe we'll cover more around the CTO role of yours. So what's your role and responsibility currently at the organization? What all it covers?
Right. So primarily, when you're working in a company, right? I'm not doing pure research. I have to build products, engineer them, and ensure that they are usable for our customers. This is the end goal, right? So let's say what do I have to do to make that happen, right?
Okay.
So there are multiple, see, people will have niche skill sets. For example, there will be someone who would be a very good machine learning engineer. There will be someone who would be a very good backend engineer. There will be someone who would be a very good data scientist, right? There will be someone who would be a very good mobile app developer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your end product is a mixture of all of them. You have to ensure that while first ensure that you have to plan the product well, or whatever development has to be done, that is planned well, right? So that you deliver in time, right?
Okay.
Because everything has a timeline. Then once you have done that, assign the right responsibility to the right people. Work on the risks. When I say work on the risks, means understand what the real problem is for everybody. Make it simplified. Understand that there are no unknowns, or there are very less unknowns. Because the more the unknowns, the higher the time it will take to deliver, right? So break it down in small pieces and make sure that the unknowns are broken down to knowns, right? And this is working with the ML team, working with the data team, working with the engineering team to ensure that all are in sync on clarity, right? And for example, if there is, I'll give a very small example. Let's say there's a data team, right? For building any ML algorithm, data will be required. Now, how do you procure this data? What should be the source of data so that the variance is there in data, enough variance is there in data, right? Otherwise, your
Mm-hmm.
machine will not learn generalized things.
Mm-hmm.
You learn very specific things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then once you have done that, what are the ML algorithms you're going to use? Right?
Okay.
Because you may not, you can run the best algorithm, you can run a transformer or other stuff, but you don't have the compute capability for that. So you have to
Okay.
think about how are you going to deploy it? Where are you going to deploy it, right? So there, again, working with the ML engineering team so that they use the right models, the right stuff. And next step is ensuring that the final product, the shape and structure of the product is such that it is using all of these in a very nicer, simpler way, consuming it and providing it to the end customer, right? So
Okay.
that's what is my role and responsibility, and ensuring that customer is satisfied.
Okay. So, Subrat, maybe I'll take Rishabh's question because I think it may naturally fit into this one and it's an
Okay.
interesting one.
Okay.
So he asks, how many people work at your organization? And with the
Okay.
automation brought about by AI, how can new graduates be more viable for a company like yours?
Great. That's a very relevant question actually. Okay. So today, and let's take an example. So I have my technology team is around the core engineering team is around 40-45 people that we have,
Okay.
right? And there are other support functions, but core engineering is 40-45 people. Uh, Now let's take and these are divided into teams, right? Like I told, the data team, the ML team, the hardware team, the backend team, the front end team. There are people distributed across those teams. There are VPs and architects across those teams who work with me to ensure that the solutions are delivered. Now, if you look at automation, I mean, let's take the case of ChatGPT or something which is generating code, right? Devika or Devin, right? Whichever the open source version is Devika and the closed source version is Devin.
Okay.
Now, how is this thing going to help me, right? And make you usable as a strong guy to be hired in a company like mine. If you know how to use those tools, right, and improve your productivity, you, I mean, if because say I have to develop things in Python or Java or Node.js, right? You should be an expert in those languages, or at least you should have medium to smart level skills in those languages, at least, so that you are able to fix things if things go wrong, right? At the same time, you can optimize, you can use those tools to generate code or ensure that you are able to deliver things faster by using those tools, leveraging them, and then optimizing it and finally delivering it to the production team, right? That's how I think is if you know how to use it, the key competency I would say is knowing those languages and things that are used and those tools, leveraging those tools to develop things faster in a more productive way and deliver it to the production team. That's how I think there'll be usability. Does this
Okay.
answer the question, Surabhi? Do you think it is?
I believe so. And Rishabh, if you have a follow up to that one, please put it in the Q&A or chat and I'll see if I can take that up. Now I'm getting a lot of questions again. Anaya, Man, Shivam, we'll try to take these up, but let me just proceed with few of mine. I think some part of it will be covered again.
Right, right,
So
right.
now I want the audience to get some understanding of what is a typical day of a AI or ML technologist, and I'm talking about from an entry level standpoint, right?
Got it.
Not someone who is in your position per se, but someone who starts in this space, right?
Got it.
Again, what kind of mix they can expect, because as I said, my goal is to give them a greater insight into what could be something which they may enjoy, what could be something which they may expect as mundane task but still required to be done.
Great. I think this is. I'll try to do justice to this question, Surabhi. Maybe a deeper one. So the first thing which is required, right, in all the AI products that you need is one thing is a patient attitude. One is patient means you have to have a steady, passive. When I say not passive, a focused approach on understanding what data is talking to you about. If something, things will uh, things will take time to stabilize. That is something that that is what I have realized over a period of time, because it's dependent on data. Uh, Second thing which you need to do is you need to always have an analytical approach, right? Data centric approach.
Mm-hmm.
So the way, if you look at typical day, you would have got developing, the other part which I told earlier, what about development, that is very straightforward, right? It is about what is to be built, how is to be built. All those are standard things which I have to do. The other part of, which should be talked about right now, which I'll try to justice about is, okay, now let's take that you've deployed something into a customer's place, and then he's seeing some results which he doesn't agree with, right? So what could be two things which can be, so those problems are very straightforward when you are doing non-data science problems, because it's about fixing the software or the hardware, right? Any
Mm-hmm.
one of them could go wrong. But when data goes wrong, right, or data's interpretation goes wrong, that is where you have to figure out what is the source of this error or problem.
Okay.
What is it that is causing the problem? Is my, so a typical thing is, do I cover this type of data in my data that I have used to build the algorithm, or that I have used to build the machine learning code? Um, is the intelligence covering this kind of variance? Does the intelligence that I have put into the, or the smartness that I put in the system, understand or interpret this data properly? Right? That is the first question that needs to be understood. That is where you need patience, right?
Okay.
Because that's where analytics, that's where statistics, that's where data's understanding is the foremost thing, right? Once you have done that, figuring out that how do you mitigate this, either by virtue of data or by virtue of some imputation techniques, or backfilling techniques, or extrapolation techniques, or interpolation techniques, has to be figured out then, right? And then
I see.
setting the see the since AI by nature is probabilistic, whatever
Mm-hmm.
we are seeing today is there is probabilistic nature to it, right? So you will have to figure out how to make that other person understand that to become deterministic, a lot more of data will be required, right? And once data is there and data sanity is there, you'll be able to make smarter decisions much more faster and much more holistic, right? So you start off small, and then with knowledge and more data information, it becomes wider and wider and wider. So that is where one has to spend a lot of time, Surbi, in making those algorithms smarter. It's hard to make a machine smart. Let's, but once you have cracked it, I think then it becomes easier.
Okay, great. So that's what, like, at the entry level would be required to be done more and with patience.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, thanks so much, Subrat. And I'll move on to my next question. And Man, I'll try to bake your question into this one itself. So, what are the opportunities for growth and advancement in this field? And what Man specifically asks is, what will be the future of this field if we are to get into this in the next 5 to 10 years? That's a very pertinent question because these are
Yes,
high schoolers and
yes,
they are preparing themselves for their career ahead.
correct. So I'll give an example of how things have how things are changing rapidly in this area, right?
Mhm.
So deep learning, actually, AI had the theoretical concepts of AI, right? They had been developed in the 50s,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But since we didn't have enough compute capabilities then, right? And that was the era of EDVAC, ENIAC, UNIVAC, right? So you didn't have enough compute capabilities, so neither you have data to make things work the way they are working today, right?
Mm.
So uh, with the explosion of compute capabilities, these all became far more better. And I think it is in 2000, 13, 14 is where you started seeing a lot of traction around deep learning again, right? And this was when I think the um, I think Inception and other networks came into play, right? AlexNet came into play. This I'm talking about 2014ish, right? 14, 13 timeline. where deep learning got success, right?
Okay.
Today, if you look at it, from 2014 to 2024, right? You have looked at OpenAI today, right? What is capable? LLMs are the power of, talk of the town today, and what we have got to today with, right? So
Yeah.
look at it, and then I have seen the journey, right? You started off with deep learning networks, then you went to NLP using recurrent neural networks. Then there were a lot of feed forward and then back feed back, you gave them the feedback based networks, which used
Mm-hmm.
to take, which used to do things much more in a smarter way.
Mm-hmm.
Then you moved on to attention transformers today, right? Before that there were GANs, right? All of these have happened in a period of 10 years, right?
Okay.
And today we are into LAMs, right? I mean, RAG, the retrieval augmented generation stuff. Then there are large action models, large language models. The amount of work that has gone into getting this thing done is humongous. Amount of research has gone, which is humongous. Amount of data available today, which is facilitating that, is, I mean, it's all because of data that's all this is possible, right? You have so much of data that yeah, consuming it all using your compute, which was there in 50s, I think it will take thousands of years, right? But today we have enough compute capability as well. So this itself shows uh, that there is a lot possible in this area. A lot is happening even now. I am seeing papers every other day working on, there is this one bit LLM also, right, which came Microsoft published lately.
Okay.
Then there are the video generation frameworks coming on. There are, there people talking about LLM OS, right? So the area is going to only explode, and I think the final culmination, and there's a lot of debate going on between Elon Musk and all those biggies who are there, right? Sam Altman and others. They are saying Yan LeCun, Andrew Ng, all they think that AI is closer. Timeline. Somebody saying 2030, 2035. Somebody saying 2040. But I think there is still some time for us to reach that, because if you look at human intelligence, I tell you one thing twice, you'll be able to able to understand. Driving a cycle is not a problem for us, right? But for machines to reach that level of intelligence, I think it is still a long shot, right? So whereas I mean, to get to that level of intelligence, I think it's a long shot. We'll wait for how things unfold. You never know what research and data can help us with, how it can help us with reaching there. But this area is going to only expand and become more, I would say, wide and deep at the same time, in the next 10-15 years for sure. A lot of opportunities to work into.
Okay. So that means that it's a promising field for years to come. Again, irrespective of the sector, irrespective of the industry, it will have
Absolutely.
application across. So again, if you're really inclined towards it, right? Again, if
Yes.
you like maths, stats as subject,
True.
then go for it. Do not go for it because it is the talk of the town. That's how
Right.
I'll put
Right.
it. That's how careers
Right.
should be thought through, not just because something is very popular now or will remain popular for a good amount of time. It may not still be the best fit for you, and you may not make a successful career out of it, right? So just
True.
keep that
True.
in mind. But yeah, long story short, Man, I hope it answers your question. So Subrat, I'll move on to the next question. And again, in my question itself, I think Shivan's question and maybe Veda's question will also get covered. It is about the educational background, which is most valuable for someone to build a career in this stream, and any specific courses, subjects, or books which you would recommend again to high school students to prepare themselves well. So that was
Right.
something which I wanted to ask. Now, specifically, what has come from Veda as a 12th class student is which computer language, sorry, 12th or 10th, I don't remember, sorry for that,
Okay.
Veda. Which computer language is the most relevant and best to learn right now? That's her question. And Shivam asks, which is the more beneficial out of BSc Mathematics or BSc Statistics. Again, they are talking about
Great.
education and coursework itself.
Right. So, so, okay. So today, if you look at the internet, right, with those all those MOOCs, there are a lot of online courses available. But specifically, I would recommend those courses by and which I think I have been really helpful are the courses by Andrew Ng.
Andrew
Uh,
and Gia.
there are, those courses are really simple and easy to understand. He tries to simplify the concepts and bring it to you, right? So you can either do a certificate based course or a non certificate based self paced course. You can do that. There are other MIT has opened up courses. Harvard has opened up courses. Nvidia now has a lot of Nvidia, Google both have a lot of online courses for AI. um, they help you. Depends on how deep you want to go, right? So I would suggest that rather than going to textbooks, it's always good to do one of those online courses, because they do have some assignments as well. But you should always buy those quick reference books for ML and statistics, because statistics concepts require you to understand the maths and you need to go visit them again and again. The name of the books I am not having on top of mind. Surbi, I'll send them to you. Probably you can send them
Sure.
to books. There are a lot of books that I referred to.
Yes.
And publisher's name I don't exactly remember, but I'll send you the list which you can share with people.
Sure.
The thing which I would recommend is doing those courses, following up those people in, if you guys on social media, do follow them up in social media like Andrew Ng, Anne Likun. There are Yoshua Bengio and a couple of others. These are AI leaders, right? They define and they are always working at the bleeding edge of technology in AI. So they help you in, and a lot of people publish papers and they talk and they talk about their published papers in social media forums. I get to know a lot from there, and then I pick up a few to read myself. That is one way to know what is happening in the forefront. Starting off should be done through courses. Um, then, if you want to, really leverage things, then you have to start doing things. The two of the languages which have been, I think, if you ask me one language, that would be Python to learn. Python is
Absolutely, yeah.
the language to learn. There are a lot of courses available on that as well. There are online resources in Stack Overflow and Geek for Geeks and other places that you can go and learn. Do some experiments, and you get a lot of code on GitHub that you can start off using, and then modify it according to your own use case.
Okay. I think that definitely answers Veda's questions and what I also asked. But any take from your side in terms of what Shivam asked, in terms of whether BSc Mathematics
Oh,
or
okay.
BSc Statistics?
Okay. So I would, I would go for a BSc Stats. Although, so there are two aspects to it, right?
Mm.
If you are going to build or really work on the algorithms research part, right, where you are, say, like Ian Goodfellow developed GANs, right? If you or say the Google team developed attention is all you need, the transformers work, which is the brain, which is the seed for all the LLMs today. And if you want to go to that, probably a BSc mathematics will help a lot, right? Because there you are getting into the real algorithms part of it. Statistics knowledge is required, but not in that depth. There more of linear algebra and other stuff are required, right? Matrix manipulation and stuff. But if you really want to go into the data side of things, right, which is understanding the data, how do you reduce the dimensions of data, right? There, the math part is required, but significance, statistical importance of data, that makes a lot of sense when you are working with when you have knowledge of data well, right? Which a BSc in data sciences gives you, right? Or statistics gives you. Right? In fact, I think IIT Madras has launched this course, right, in BSc in data science. and
Yeah,
AI.
it's a very good course. The online one you're talking about, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I think taking that is a good option because there will be an inclination towards, you know, uh, uh, writing code and really experimenting things around your knowledge.
So there are a lot of questions flowing in, but I want to do justice to the time we have, and I will pick another question from someone whose question I haven't taken up. But again, I will bake into what we wanted to cover as well, which is primarily like there is always a good side to the career, and there is always not so good side as well. So, right.
Right,
So again, talk about what are the challenges of being in this career, what are the rewards of being in this career, and now I'll try to bake in Anay's question where uh, the question is the experts are talking about the ethical aspects of AI and ML. So can you
right.
please elaborate more? So I'm just keeping it in the challenge aspect of
Got
things,
it.
but you can have your own take there, but I definitely want to take one question from Anay
Sure,
as well.
sure. So I think ethics is. I will talk about ethics for sure, but challenges I'll first talk about. So the
Okay.
first challenge of any ML algorithm or an AI technology of building is the presence and quality of data. Right. It may be data scarcity could be a problem.
Okay.
Data variability could be a problem. Data's the data that you train on could be way different from the data that you are going to validate it on in the real field, right?
Okay.
That could, I mean, so it will all be, you should always be ready for surprises. The thing is, since it is data dependent, the kind of data that you are expected to run on
Mm-hmm.
and the kind of data that the machine sees on the ground, right, when
Mm-hmm.
it is getting deployed,
Mm-hmm.
they may be widely different. I'll give a simple example. So when we start building machine learning models to do quality analysis, we our universe is the universe of, say, I'm doing oil content for some seed, right? That
Okay.
oil content that I built on is a particular range that I have, right? Say X to
Okay.
Y, and that is my universe, right? And I would expect that, and that I would have done some research and figured out that this is the universe. But the moment I go onto the field, I realize there are those two cases which are getting, beyond those ranges, which I had never expected. Right?
Okay.
And
Okay. The
uh,
outliers, you mean?
outliers. I mean, it's just that the universe keeps expanding.
Okay.
Just like we human beings, our knowledge expands with time, right? Similarly, data keeps on expanding for a machine to work with. Our smartest have to improve, right? So there has to be continuous learning. That's the that's the biggest challenge that you'll face. And when you are working in a closed environment, it's not a problem. But when you are working in a open environment, there are going to be problems. That's the biggest challenge.
Okay.
Um, the rewards, again, since you are working on data, right? The thing is, the moment things work, it's like magic for people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which was not expected when we all saw Sora, the video generator from OpenAI, right? It was all magic. How is this happening,
It appeared
right?
to be magic.
Yes. So
Yeah.
the reward is that joy that something great has been built, right? That is, and that awesomeness of making a machine smarter is the joy that you get within. The other rewards will come. I mean, that is there. The financial rewards, the reward of recognition, all that will come. But the joy of simply making a machine smart enough that you are able to do things automatically, that is just awesome, right? The last question of ethics, right? See, the point where everyone is pointing to is, if you have to respect others' data while you are building, because the data hungry machine learning data hungry, right? You have to collect data and build things. So data's ownership has to be respected, and that's where ethics come into picture. There are other parts also. I'm first telling. I'm just addressing one aspect, that how do you ensure that you are not infringing somebody's data privacy? Why either there is a consent or there is the approval, and then only you use that and do that, or when you are building, there should be an agreement that okay, once the model works, there can be some revenue. There can be other models on that. You can do some revenue sharing, or you can give a one-time payment, right? All those kind of things are there. The other part is, see, anything that you, even when nuclear bomb was invented, the whole technology behind it was not meant to build the bomb. The whole technology was to build generate energy, right? So
Yeah.
everything has a upside and downside. Right? It all depends on how you want to take it. AI as a technology will be like the nuclear energy thing. I believe it is going to, if you use it right, it is going to uh, elevate all of us, like enabling interplanetary travel like in nuclear energy, or if you use it wrongly, it can be like the atom bomb. So let's be very decisive in using it. If we are ethical, yeah, things will become ethical.
Okay, so I want to extend upon that point, Subrat. Like, what kind of, in like even in your own work, what kind of guardrails are being put by the AI experts or any kind of governing body per se?
Correct.
What's happening in that space?
So what we have ensured is there are two things that we have ensured. One is my data has to be totally secure. That's something we have ensured. So you have to ensure that there is role-based access control. There is data is only shared with people who are meant to use the data, nothing else, nobody else. The second thing that you ensure is data that we use to build our models is uh, if we are using our data, it's very clear. There's audit trail saying that we got the sample from here, we got it tested, using it in our models, and it's getting used. There's a traceability part of that.
Hmm.
The other part is when we are using somebody else's data, it's for that customer. We tell them that this is how it is going to be used in your. We give them the visibility of how the data is going to be utilized, right?
Yeah.
And then so that's what we have ensured that the our sales guys or our product guys give that visibility to the customers,
Okay, got it, got it.
right? And
Yeah,
this becomes the use case becomes much more different when you're dealing with far more sensitive data like personalized data, right?
yeah.
That has to be dealt with differently, right? There has to be different rules and laws or governing principles for the kind of data that you're dealing with.
Understood. Okay, so I know we are coming towards the closing of the session, and again, there are a lot other questions, but students don't get disheartened. There is one surprise for you towards the end, so wait for that. But let me go ahead with the final question before I kind of ask few rapid fire questions to get your fun side as well, Subrat.
Sure,
So
sure.
in terms of your kind of final advice to the high school students who want to make their career in this stream, and also if possible, I know we just have 2 3 minutes, if there are any kind of common misconceptions or myths doing the rounds in this space, you can take this opportunity to bust that as well.
Right, right. So I think the way that you have to you have to uh, build your skill set around this is be inquisitive. I think that is the first thing to be first and foremost skill that is required, right? Because that's what is required to make think like a child. That's the most important thing. If you start thinking like that, I think you can make your machines think also, right? I mean, at some
Nice,
point of
that's
time,
a good one.
right?
Okay. Mhm.
And uh, if you think there's a problem, go ahead and do your Google search well. You can start somewhere. Starting is the most important thing, right? You cannot just keep thinking and be laid back. There are enough enablers out there in the internet which will help you. Go and search in YouTube, go and search in GitHub, right? You'll get to know how to start, where to start, right? There are a lot of those resources available. Don't and the people whom you ping, you know, at least 10-20% of them will reply that this is how you can start. At least when people ask me, I ensure that I tell them this is how to start. Right. The myths that people have is you need to be a computer scientist to be a AI/ML guy. I don't think that's true at all. If you have, like I said, if you had the aptitude, which Surbi covered in the beginning, and the attitude that yes, let me get my hands dirty. I don't. You have to write very less code in Python. So that's the truth, right? Today, with all the libraries available, if you know how to use them, you don't have to be an excellent coder to become an AI/ML guy. Not at all. You just need to know what to use, how much to use. That's it.
Great. I think that's a very relevant advice and a popular myth you busted. So thank you for that, Subrat. So I wanted to ask a lot of questions in terms of rapid fire, but I see we are at 12:30 already. So maybe I'll just pick one, and you can just talk about that, which is like, if you could get one superpower in this era, what would you really wish for?
Thinking of the future, making
Yeah.
future happen. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's nice. Maybe I'll ask another one, which is
Sure, sure, sure.
about your favorite quote. Do you have one?
Favorite quote?
Quote, yeah.
Oh yeah, try your best and leave the rest. That has been my,
That's
and
so nice.
that was by Swami Chinmayananda from Chinmay Mission, and it has been my quote since I think I came across it in class 4 or 5. It has remained with me.
We repeated one more time for the entire
Try your
audience.
best and leave the rest. That's it.
Simple and very powerful. That's how I'll put
Yes,
it.
yes.
Okay, with that, we are coming to the end of our session. And definitely, like, we have more such sessions line up as well in the month of May. We will be talking about the career, which is covering corporate law. And we'll be also talking about the admissions per se, college admissions. And our first one would be on the US admissions per se. So you can visit our website, and we keep posting our upcoming events information as well. Now, I also wanted to mention to all of you, especially like maybe students who had a lot more questions, but we couldn't cover everything. So, Subrat has been kind enough, and with his humility and desire to really give back to the community or to the student community, he has proposed a pro bono, or kind of like a free of cost hour-long mentorship, right? So, what I will do is I will circulate a form, a Google form, in next few days to the registered participants of this event. And if any of you, if you are interested, please fill that form, and then we will take it ahead from there. So, Subrat, do you want to add anything on that?
Yeah. So please, this is something that I think. So the reason I propose this survey is I feel that if I would have been given this guidance then when I was at the time that you guys are in, I think it would have been really of really good help, right, in shaping up what I would have liked to do later. So I told Surbi, why not? The people who are really interested, let's have a 1 hour session with them, talk to them, like, and then figure out what questions they have, right, and then help them in their decision making process. So I'd love to, help guys out for this session. That's my intention.
Great. Thank you so much, Subrat. And this is also the mission of our company as well, right? This is my driving factor too, because I think if students have awareness and authentic guidance, they can really, they're intelligent enough, they're smart enough, especially Gen Z and Gen Alpha, to really carve out their own career path. But thing is this, sometimes they are overloaded with information, and that might also not be correct. So, right,
Right.
uh, people like you and others, they are really like doing a great job in that ways that you're offering this kind of mentorship. And I can just suggest the students here, make the most of it. I'm sure you had a lot of questions. Unfortunately, I couldn't take all. So that mentorship session may also help you, but let's do it in a little structured way. So that's why I said I'll float a form, and if you're truly interested, fill that form, and then we can pass it on to Subrat as such.
Sure, sure.
With that, thank you everyone for joining. I hope this was an informative session, and thank you once again, Subrat, and have a good day, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Surabhi. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.
The webinar has ended. Thank you for joining. Goodbye.